With all the announcements today, some people will think the work starts here, but I guess from your point of view, it started well before that and before the Four Nations series last year.
Yeah, without doubt, and it started, with a really tough tour of Australia and New Zealand, in terms of myself taking charge of the group, and that was a fantastic experience for everybody involved within that group. And then going into last year's Four Nations, which we probably took it as a standalone competition. We really wanted to do well and succeed in that competition, and I think we did well. We didn't quite succeed, we just fell a little bit short. But I think the real focus now does turn to the World Cup. So regardless of the programme this year, which is an important year for us, we're really looking at it as a 2-year programme now.
And looking back on last year, how would you sum up the Four Nations series and the way England went in that tournament?
I think it was exciting for everybody involved. I think the whole feel of the Rugby League community, I think got behind the England Rugby League team. I think probably the biggest indication for me was the atmosphere at Ellen Road and the number of white shirts and the amount of involvement from fans from all different clubs in terms of getting behind the England brand. And that comes from the players. The players give off that vibe. The players deserve great credit for the performances and obviously the way they conducted themselves throughout the tournament. And I think that momentum that we've built in that tournament, we need now to push on with that to make sure we go that one step further, and that's to go and win the World Cup. The end of season tournament, there's no Australia and New Zealand, we all understand that. I think the ideal situation for ourselves personally would have been to play Australia and New Zealand, but that isn't meant to be. So once we knew that was the case, it was the next best possible scenario that we could form, and that was to have a shortened end of season tournament, but obviously with some preparation going into that tournament that we're looking at using for the World Cup. And if we combine that shortened tournament with great preparation, it gives us a clear indication as to what is needed the following year. Ian Henderson's been, probably since he came back playing in the competition, it was very good for Catalan Dragons last year, and he started the season off outstandingly well this time around. He picked up a little bit of an injury inside the first 10 minutes at the weekend, but I will say there's a lot of very, very good hookers in our competition right now. And Gareth Hawke coming back for his first international stint since 2009, and again the form that he's shown and the way he's continually getting better game by game suggests to me that he's going to be a really good player for us this season, but more importantly towards going into the World Cup.
And young Zach Cardicker also promoted from the Knights. That's some story, 2 years ago playing for Featherstone, now is in the elite training squad.
Well, we've got a few who've come up through the Knights, and I think that's a great recognition to that Knights programme. We got an opportunity to look at some of these players, Zach included, during the England Knights programme. We saw how the players dealt with what was required at international level, and Zach, along with Josh Charnley and Lee Mossop and Callum Watkins in particular, come up into the elite training squad, and we're very excited to have those players. Zach on his own is playing very good rugby league at this moment in time. He's a very smart rugby league player, and again progressed a lot, but a whole lot more to come from him as well.
And you look down that list of players, and some of the younger members of the squad who you mentioned have been promoted from the junior squad. Some of the big game experience that they've got under their belts at such a young age is astonishing, really, isn't it? When you look back over the past few years. It
is, and the more they get, the more benefit for ourselves. Like we said, you play Australia, you play New Zealand, and you get to feel what it's like. If we can replicate that as many times as we can in Super League, that would be great. The Exiles fixture certainly enhances that opportunity as well. And World Club Challenge, the World Club Challenge game that the Leeds boys were fortunate to play against Manly, again gives them another memory for when it comes around to international football as to what is required.
How do you sum up this year then, Steve, in terms of your preparation and the planning that you've been doing over the past few years for the World Cup? Is it a build-up year, or is it a case of carrying on momentum that you built for the past couple of years?
It's looking at it as a 2-year programme. That's I tried to say that earlier on, that certainly the tour to Australia and New Zealand in 2010 and the Four Nations in 2011 were big tournaments in their own right. We're actually now looking at putting everything in place this year and build that progression. Continuing the momentum from this year's Four Nations, that's very, very important, but really now bring it all together as a 2-year programme, probably 18 months really now as we're speaking, in terms of when we're going to play, to create what we need to create to make sure we can lift that trophy come November.
And for yourself, another big tournament down the line in your international coaching career. You still enjoying the job as much as you did on it your first day in the office?
Yeah, it's a very good job. Very fortunate we get to get lots of very good experiences through this job. people ask about the day-to-day coaching. Do you miss that? And I suppose in some way I do, but it's not something you really think about because the job now has grown. We've got all our different programmes with our 16s, 18s, our nights. Our 18s, I may add, obviously out touring Australia this year, which is really important for them. But our ETS squads and our England programme now. So it's a very fulfilling job, and one that obviously pushing through into the 2013 World Cup year is going to be very exciting.
And you talk about the momentum that we're going to continue on the field, off the field. It's great for fans of international rugby league that the World Cup will be in this country following on from a Four Nations series.
Yeah, I mean I think you could see, like I said, the feel of all the games, all the England games this year. It was a tremendous credit to everybody involved, and the way the fan base got behind the team, and really helped us in every game that we played in. If we can continue that and keep that momentum going with those people, again, it'll be even stronger come World Cup final in 2013.